Hey guys, it's Phoebe from Who's Phoebe and welcome back to another Doctor Who video. I thought, as it's Halloween, we could go through my top 10, my top 30 Doctor Who stories and episodes to watch on Halloween. I just think these scream everything. These have changed a lot since last year. Last year I had different things. Also, before we get started, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up if you did, and also make sure you click the subscribe button down below to get notifications of all my videos. And also click the notifications bell to get notifications of all my videos. Also, I wanted to say an announcement. I am bringing back 24 Days of Doctor Who this year again. It was my most popular series last year that happened around Christmas time. I basically did classic Doctor Who reviews for the entirety of the 24 days leading up to Christmas. And I will be doing that again this year, but with a twist. Every other day I am going to have a Doctor Who diaries, basically where I describe the doctors or like different companions and different doctors and different monsters and everything like that in the mix. I am very much excited doing that because I love doing TARDIS diaries on my phone, on my TikTok. So yeah, I'm bringing that into YouTube. Anyway, so we're going to start off with... Anyway, on with the video. We're going to start off with one of the ideal Halloween episodes from the first Doctor. We're basically doing seasons 1 to 28 here, then 1 to 13 on the modern era, and then Scooty Gutwaz era. So, the first story I would start your Halloween off with is the Aztecs. Last year I wouldn't have picked this story as a story to go with, but given it much thought, this is a perfect way to start your Halloween off, just because it's a nice, easy story to ease yourself in. It's not overly scary, but it's the perfect way to introduce you into Halloween and the world of spookiness. Second story I'd recommend, number 29, not my top pick, but not the best, Planet of the Giants. The reason why I would pick this story as a Halloween one is you get basically the Doctor and his companions being small, and they're small and everything to them looks massive, and I feel like that's a lot of plot points for a lot of Halloween movies and things like that. So I just feel like this one suits Halloween in not necessarily how I don't think they made it to be Halloween when they originally thought of that story, but I just think it is such a cool one to do for season 2 of the first Doctor. And then the second one I would recommend from season 2, because there are 2, is the Time Meddler, because I also feel like that one is very, very Halloween-y. I don't know why. From series 3, there's only one, and you don't get more scary than the Daleks. I feel like Daleks are always going to be the type of monster you want to go for in Doctor Who, and you're not wrong. But I feel like there are certain episodes when they can be really scary, and certain stories when they aren't scary at all. So I feel like the Daleks Master Plan is like the best one ever because you get the scary factor from it. Okay, season 4, we are on the first Doctor still, but we're going to move on to the 7th Doctor, just on to the second Doctor, just because I feel like literally the first Doctor only did the 10th planet, and that's not really relatively Halloween scary. I mean, robots, yes, but I don't really feel that has like a Halloween factor to it. So this is number 26, yeah. The Macra Terror. This is the best one, I think. If you don't want to watch the Aztecs or the other ones I've recommended, this is the next best one to sink your teeth into, because not only do we get introduced to the Macra for the first time, but they are like a giant crab, like big and scary and horrible, and I feel like that screams Halloween to me. Series 5, the second Doctor, I feel like the only relative scary Cyberman story is Earthshock in Peter Davison's time, but the Tomb of the Cybermen comes close for 25 here, because I feel like you can't get more creepy with the Cybermen then a tomb, Cybermen resting, the Doctor, Victoria and Jamie, and a bunch of archaeologists alone, and the Cybermen, and they're not really realising, like, and Cybermats and everything like that. I feel like you can't get more scary Cybermen than that. So yeah, I feel like that's definitely one to watch for Halloween. You don't have to watch these for Halloween. These are just my recommendations for if you like me and you don't like scary movies. These are the ones you should watch because they do have a Halloween factor to them, but they're not overly scary. Season 6, I feel like Season 6 is a bit of a you like it and you hate it series. I'm not a massive fan of this series. I don't know what it is about Season 6 for me of the classic era. It just doesn't feel right to me. I mean, it feels Doctor Who, don't get me wrong, but it still doesn't feel scary enough. And the only episode I would say that is relatively scary or has a scare factor to this is the 10-part serial The War Games, because you see the Doctor and you see the Time Lords for the first time, and I feel like that's a great kind of introduction to the Time Lords. I don't know, I just feel like the War Games is a better one in that series, and the only one of that series I'd recommend as a Halloween watch. Of course there are Cyberman stories you can also watch if you want to do that. Now Series 7, the third Doctor, played by Jon Pertwee. I feel like for this one is a no-brainer, and I feel like a lot of people are gonna agree with me. Spearhead from Space. I mean, come on, Living Plastic. That is the perfect scary Halloween one. It gives me the scare factor every single time I watch it. Like every single time I watch this, it always freaks me out. Yes, I haven't watched Doctor Who since I moved out, but I was waiting for the right time, and I feel like now that maybe Christmas is coming and Halloween is coming and things like that, it might now be the perfect time to watch a few of my favourite stories. Season 8, again, you guys are going to be annoyed about this because it's basically the same monster, but a lot more creepier. So I suggested Spearhead from Space, which is the first introduction to the Autons, and I find them really, really spooky. Terror of the Autons comes next for me as another Doctor Who creepy Halloween story you can watch. I just feel like Living Plastic again has a certain scare factor for it on Halloween, and I just feel like this is like the perfect, again, another perfect story to sink your teeth into. I mean, why the hell not? Okay, Season 9. There's not really a lot to pick from, but the scariest one I would have to pick for a night of scariness would probably have to be the mutants. I would say the Daleks, but then again, if you watch them too many times, they don't really have a scare factor to them. So the mutants is a really good one to watch because you have these like creepy looking guys, and I just think it's so funny. Like, it's so weird to see such like a creepy looking guy. And the makeup department do a fab job on these, so I'd totally recommend that as a Halloween watch. Series 10. Oh, this is a toughie. The Green Death. I know this is Joe Grant's last story, but I feel like this has just something so creepy about it if you watch it at the right time of year. I don't know, it's just a feeling. I just have like that particular feeling about it being so creepy. Series 11, the Time Warrior, because this is the first introduction of the Sontarans and everything like that. I just feel like that maybe this is like the perfect Halloween one, not only to sink your teeth into, but the Sontarans' first appearance is just so iconic that I always enjoy watching the Time Warrior because it's like one of my favourite third Doctor stories. So yeah, I'll be watching that Halloween. Okay, So we've had some creepy monsters now. It's time for something a little bit more calmer as Halloween continues. From series 12, season 12 with Tom Baker, the 4th Doctor, I feel like the only story you can really begin with is The Ark in Space. I love this story, not just because of the sheer authenticity of it, but because you get the Wirren and you get that creepy bubble wrap. I know the budget that back then was weird and low, not as high tech as it is now, but I just find something so creepy about the episode. Even with the bubble wrap, it still makes my skin crawl watching it now. And I feel like from series 13, the only real creepy one is Pyramids of Mars, with the whole Sutekh thing, because that's the first introduction to Sutekh and everything like that, and you don't really get any more creepy than that. That needs no explanation. Series 14, The Hand of Fear. And no, before you guys think she's picking it because it's got the word fear at the end. Nope, that's not why I'm picking it. I'm picking it because not only is this a great standalone 4-parter story, but it's also like the way it projects Eldrad and everything, it's so creepy and you don't know what's going to happen, and it's just, it scares the pants off me on Halloween. Like, I watched it last year on Halloween and I was scared out of my mind, because Halloween makes everything seem more scary, so this is one that you can be like, dig in and really watch for Halloween. It's such a good one. Season 15, I would say, oh, this is tricky. Image of Fendel. Like, fear becomes the Fendel core and everything, and it's just one of those stories that is amazing and definitely worth a watch over Halloween. Like, if you don't watch that one, fine, but that's just my recommendation. It doesn't really need much of an explanation anyway. As for series 16, I'd say the most creepy one we have is probably The Power of Kroll, which I'm not picking this because I know for a fact it was filmed on Suffolk. I'm picking this because a sea monster with tentacles and ocean, and it's just amazing. I love this episode so much as well. Like, I love this story with the Doctor and Mamana. I think it's so nice, and I just think it's so good. Like, it's amazing. It's definitely worth a watch on Halloween. Series 17.
I'm sorry, I can't call emergency services here. Please use your phone.
Please ignore that. Series 17, I feel like Nightmare of Eden is a great one to watch. I've watched it, I've also watched The Creature from the Pit, but The Nightmare of Eden, I think is a great one to watch on Halloween. It's just so good, and the acting is amazing. As for series 18, this is a bit more tricky. The one I definitely recommend watching on Halloween is The State of Decay, because it's got vampires in, and I feel like that is like I know that one wasn't made to be creepy and have vampires in. I know it was not meant to be like a Halloween one, but it does pass as one because of the pure kind of vampire-ticness of it and everything like that. I just feel like this is like a perfect one to watch for Halloween because it's got vampires in. That needs no explanation. As for series 19 with Peter Davison, the 5th Doctor, the one I would definitely recommend is The Kinder, because this is the first introduction of the Mara, and the Mara is like a snake thing. If you've never watched The Kinder, you should. It's a great story. It's actually my favourite one. It's not my favourite one, but it actually is a nice introduction into the Mara and how they operate and everything like that. So this is a great one to watch because it's just so amazing, and everything like that. And you get the Doctor, and you get Adric, and you get Tegan, you get some amazing performances from all of the side cast as well. And it's very memorable, but also it's creepy as well because you get a snake who literally embeds dreams in your mind. It is so scary. Season 20, Snake Dance. This is another Mara story, but they take this to a whole new level. They take the whole Mara thing to a whole new level with this, and I just love it. This is actually my favourite Mara story. This is like the only one. This is the only other one. But it just creeps you out so much because they take this to a whole new level, so yeah. As for season 21, the only one I can really think of that screams Halloween to me is The Awakening. This is such a good one as well because you get the Malice and this whole creepy thing in the church, and the Malice is like a spaceship in the church. It is so weird and creepy, and I just love it so much. As for season 22, I can't really recommend anything from the Six Doctors era, mostly because I have watched the Six Doctors era, but I never really liked it very much, if that makes sense. As for the Seventh Doctor, played by Sylvester McCoy, the one I can recommend for Halloween, the next 3 series episodes for Halloween I can recommend: Delta and the Bannerman, because that is just so creepy. Again, no explanation needed. Remembrance of the Daleks, because again, it is so freaking good. And the final one I would recommend in the classic era is Ghostlight. And no, I'm not recommending it because it's got ghosts in it. That is not what I was recommending that for. I was recommending that for because it's got ghosts in it, yes, but for me, it's everything I love about Doctor Who, like the creepiness of it. Okay, we're now on the modern era, 2005 to 2022. I was born in 2003, so when Doctor Who came out in 2005, I was 2 years old when it came out again on TV. So I didn't start watching it till Jodie Whittaker, but I was kind of brought up on the whole Eccleston, Capaldi, Eccleston, Jodie Whittaker Doctors kind of thing. So the one I would recommend for series 1 of the modern series, although there's no really like modern classic anymore, it's all mixed, is The Unquiet Dead. And no, not because it's got ghosts. I feel like this one's just like screams Halloween to me because you've got Charles Dickens, a Victorian Cardiff, and corpses stalking the streets of London. It's just perfect. Okay, as for series 2, one time I would have said Fear Her, but they've currently taken that down, so I can't really recommend that. The only one I would really recommend is the 2-parter Rise of the Cybermen. Actually, no. I have mixed opinions about this one. I know this is like a very controversial episode in fandom, and I don't really like it that much, but I do only ever rewatch it one time a year for a specific time. New Earth, because it's zombies. It's like, it's awesome. That's the only time I ever really watch it. As for series 3, the one I would recommend, and you guys are probably going to be like, why are you recommending this one that's so controversial in the fandom? And you are completely right. The Lazarus Experiment. I'm sorry, but with Halloween and everything, that is so creepy. Like, it is amazing to watch that at night. Like, trust me, you love it. And also the next one I would probably recommend in that one, the 2-parter Human Nature and the Family of Blood. Not because it's got scarecrows, but because it is just such a good episode. It's just such a good 2-parter to recommend and totally worth watching Halloween. As for series 4, this is a bit harder because all of them are really good, solid episodes, but I feel like the creepiest one of them all is the 2-parter Silence in the Library and Forest of the Dead. I think I recommended this last year, when I did this last year and the year before that. But this is such a good good two-parter because it's David Tennant's acting is on point and everything like that. But this screams Halloween to me. This is everything I love about Doctor Who in one. Okay, as for Series 5, The Time of Angels and Flesh and Stone. I'm trying to cover every single Halloween monster here, but the Weeping Angels are definitely creepy enough in this episode for me to declare this as a Halloween watch. Series 6, there's not really many creepy episodes in Series 6, but I would say the God Complex, just because of that first scene with the dolls turning their heads. It's like so creepy. And I'd also probably recommend Night Terrors as well as another one, because, you know, creepy dolls and night terrors, it's just, you know, fantastic. As for Series 7, the one I would probably recommend is Cold War, maybe? Yeah, let's go with Cold War. I'm going to recommend Cold War to you guys as a Halloween, to put on your Halloween watch list of Doctor Who episodes. As for Series 8, the only one I think that's relatively creepy is Mummy on the Orient Express for Halloween. I mean, that kind of gives it away as to why I picked it, but that's not the reason why. I picked it because I've watched this on Halloween before and it scared the bejesus out of me. And not only that, it also covers like mummies, zombies and ghosts in the whole Doctor Who Halloween themed episodes that they try and make not Halloweeny, but they do. As for Series 9, Heaven Sent. It's such a great Peter Capaldi one as well, and it's just fantastic and amazing. As for Series 10, the one I would recommend, Knock Knock. 6 people in an ancient house with this creepy guy, creepy landlord, and these wood mites. That to me is everything I want for Halloween. Just nothing too creepy, but something spooky enough. Get away fi. This is a bit more trickier when it comes to Jodie Whittaker's seasons, because I know she did 3. I feel like the Witchfinders is ideal for Halloween, and not just because it's called the Witchfinders, because again I'm trying to cover all kind of the monsters of the Halloween to put on your Doctor Who Halloween watch list. So I've done ghosts and mummies and things like that. I feel like Witchfinders is just like the perfect Halloween episode of Jodie Whittaker's season. Also, you could even watch Arachnids in the UK. That is also very, very scary on Halloween, trust me. As for season 12, the only one I'd really recommend for a watch for Halloween would be not Orphan 55. That was weak. I can't recommend a weak episode for Halloween watch. Nikola Tesla's Night of Terror. And not because of the title, just because it sounds really creepy. And as for Series 13, this is a pretty much no-brainer, the Halloween Apocalypse. Because that literally, let me just check the date on that. That literally came out 31st of October 2021 on Halloween. So that's kind of become partly a tradition to watch that on Halloween now. As for Scooty Gatwa's seasons Halloween-wise, let me just type. The only one I can really recommend that I feel like screams Halloween to me. They didn't mean to make it Halloweeny, but they somehow did. Rogue. I totally would happily watch that again for Halloween episode. And as for this, so yeah, those are my recommendations for what you should watch Doctor Who episode wise on Halloween. Obviously my opinion has changed a lot since last time I watched, but I didn't pick all of the episodes that had a Halloween name to them. I just picked some of them that had a Halloween name because I couldn't resist, and also they are awesome. I haven't done a long video like this in a while, so I hope you enjoyed sitting here whilst I rambled on. So yeah, this episode will be out on the 31st, so I'm pre-recording this at 1:53 AM on Sunday 13th of October. So yeah, I'll be doing a thumbnail at some point tonight as well for this episode, but I'll make sure that this gets uploaded onto my iPad as soon as possible and also uploaded to YouTube as well. Okay? And in the words of my favourite doctor, Allons-y.